Hello everyone, today I'm going to show you my Brusho pigments. I'm working with an Elephant Stencil, some water, a pencil and a brush. Quite easy method. Pick your stencil, in which case this is an elephant, and I'm just lining it up with my paperwork, wanting at least one leg and the trunk and tusks in it. I've taped it down just purely to keep it there and in place, and you'll see why later. Can get a bit messy, so be prepared. But this is a bit different to the norm, maybe something you've already tried, so apologies for that. So here I've got gamboge and grey, and I'm going to sprinkle it like a pepper pot over the stencil where it's been cut away, so that the colours somehow will get in there and spread. Try to think of sort of African elephant colours, Indian colours, colourful, that sort of theme. You can do whatever colour you want, but these are what I had in my mind's eye at the time. Less is more, so don't go mad because these explode. If you've worked with Brusho pigments, you'll know what I mean. This will seep under the stencil, which I'm really not bothered about. It's the effect I want, and you'll see when I lift the stencil away. This is the grey, which I was trying to pick up a little bit of the elephant skin, but as you and I both know, when you use Brusho, it's not just grey you get. It's a very fine powder, and it can go a bit mad. Anyway, you spritz with water. I've got a little water pen, and depending on the effect you want will depend on how much water you spray. You can have little, or you can have quite a lot, and it becomes very wet. This is a 300 GSM watercolour paper. It will take it, but like I say, it depends what the effect is you want of your elephant or stencil, whichever you're using. You will get a bit of a double here, because if you put another piece of paper over the top of this, it will give you an imprint of obviously the colours you've used, plus a bit of the stencil underneath. It won't be a perfect print, but you could print over that again with something else if that's what you like for a card. So here goes, just lining the paper up. Let this paper soak the extra moisture, and just give it a little rub over to get it to transfer. And this one, when you pull it away, sometimes you get a good ghost print and sometimes you don't, but you can always put another print of a stencil or another image you want to put on over the top. For time's sake, I'm going to dab these with water. You can let them dry on their own, and gives another effect, but for speediness we could be here all night if we waited for these. So I'm just going to dab them in some wet places so they don't run all over. It may be that you might want that effect. At the moment I don't. Now this one I would definitely over stencil with something totally different, because to me you can't make out that's an elephant. There's something there but not enough for me. So I will over stencil this, or paint it with something else, or use it as a background to another card. So that just is going to get put aside now to dry, and if I do something with it I'll show you. But this needs to now dry out because it's quite wet. There's something there but not enough for me. And then this one is the one I'm interested in, so I'm just going to dab the water off by hand, where usually you would just let this sit and dry on its own. the water will have gone underneath the stencil, but you will get the outline of the pattern of the stencil, which is what I'm after. And then I'll show you what I do with that, because we will use this stencil again on this same image. I just don't want to be too wet, so I can't move on for you. So feeling brave, peel off the tape and lift up. Keep it, don't get rid of that, just leave it somewhere. It's not going to mark because it's going to be wet. And then you can get the outline of the elephant. Now, to me, I need to define this further. So where you would normally leave this to dry naturally, I'm dampening it down because I want to use a Posca pen on it now and relay the stencil back down and give it some definition. It's quite a long process, so I'll speed the camera up once I get going with the Posca pen. But you get the idea. Look, the elephant's there. It now needs to be defined. So this is where we lay the stencil back down. So we've got to make sure it's dry. I just don't want to add any more extra imprint to my already existing elephant, you see. So I've wiped it both sides. Pretty stencil this, but it's a large stencil. Now we've got to reposition again. And now I'm going to go over with my Posca pen into all the little nooks and crannies of the stencil, marking it with a Posca pen if the paper's not too wet. This is why I say it needed to be dried out more so, but here we are. So I'm not going to bore you watching me go around all these little marks. So I'm going to fast forward here. I'm sure you get the gist of what I'm going to do. So when I've completed a good majority of it, I'll come back to you so you can see the final result. Okay, nearly there now. Just check over your stencil, make sure you've got all the bits. It's not the end of the world if you've forgotten something. Take away the stencil and you're left with the image I wanted. What do you think? Just a bit different? And you can elaborate on this with a Posca pen or different colours. Everything just to make it yours and put your stamp on it. I think it's quite fun. I think I might put some splatters on it as well. And maybe some water coming out of his trunk. But I just thought it was pretty. I hope you've enjoyed this as much as I've done creating it. And hopefully come up with something a bit later, something different. I'll post the end product picture at the end of the video, and I'll post the negative and the positive, not necessarily of this one, of a previous one, so you can see when the first copy's put down, how you can get a negative imprint of the same thing, because this is the second one I've done. But they're fun and they're different, obviously using different colours. So thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed it. Give it a go and hopefully next time I'll come up with something different. I'm thinking of doing a lady's head with a hair going a bit wacky with colours. But there you go. Hope you enjoyed it. Bye for now.